Hey guys, Coach Logan here again, taking a break for a bit from my repertoire series videos and just playing a Blitz game, so let's see who we can find here. Wow, strong opponent. This guy's rated almost 2,500. Okay, alright, let's go knight f6. Alright. Okay, he's playing a collie. Go bishop g4. Right, so this is becoming a Slav. I imagine queen b3 is coming. We'll go queen b6. Okay. Let's get it developed. He's gonna steal my bishop pair, but maybe it's not so bad. Let's try this move bishop b4. And, okay, I think there's an interesting idea I liked in some of these positions. I'm actually going to take this. And now I'm going to go knight to e4. The point of taking was to weaken the e4 square. And I don't mind if he takes my knight, because that will give him some further weak squares, like on f3. Alright, he's trying to undermine me there, but now I'm actually tempted to take, as bad as that bishop was, I'm now tempted to take it and try to sort of invite the problems he might have with some king safety issues. Okay, so what to do with my king now? I think I'm actually going to go kingside and then try to put pressure on his king. Okay, so he's playing e5 here. Alright, let's start breaking this down. Let's go b6. Okay, so he's going to win a pawn on c6, but I feel like the openness of his king will give me some compensation. I'm going to take this with the knight. If he takes with the queen, I'll go queen e7. Ooh, he might be able to force a queen trade here. Oh, no, okay, you didn't do that. All right, let's go. Let's bring this rook to c8. Okay, let's look for ways to invade with my queen. So he's up a pawn. Structurally has a good position, has a better bishop than my knight in the endgame, but I do think that the fact that his king is weak, or potentially weak at least, could give me reasons to, still be hopeful here. One other important thing to know, I think, is that queens and knights harmonize better than queens and bishops, and rooks and bishops harmonize better than rooks and knights, so I don't want to trade queens here. Let's see. Okay, I just want to try to rip open lines on his king in any way. Alright, let's take this. Okay, let's bring this rook to e8. Okay, he's making that trade. Alright, I'm going to come back with this rook to e8. I like that square. Put some pressure on the e3 pawn. Alright, I got to play a little bit quicker. I'm low on time here. Okay, let's go queen g3. Bring the queen around this way. Avoid a queen trade. Okay, well, he's going to have to give me his queen. Okay. Alright, down to 26 seconds though. I don't think he's worse here. I think his extra pawn is pretty good, but I'm just going to keep trying to keep him in check and see what we can get out of that, and just kind of use my queen to keep making threats. Like I'm threatening a2 right now. Okay, I'll take that. Oh, what am I doing? The G2 is hanging. Oh my gosh. This is what happens when you get into time trouble. You miss obvious things. Okay. Well, let's get my A pawn rolling. Ah, okay. He's got that. I imagine he's gonna... Okay, it's taking that. Okay, we'll push this pawn again. Go check. Go check. Take a pawn. Oh, he's going to take me there. Okay. We'll attack that. Take this. Go check. We're in check here. Ah, okay. Well. I was hoping he would go. Okay, he's got this one. Alright, so he won. I think in large part I was very low on time. Oh, he wants a rematch. I want to play another one, but I want to analyze this first. Okay, so that was an interesting game. I definitely, it's definitely kind of back and forth. Let's take a look at this one. You know, no shame in losing to such a high-rated opponent. But, so D4. Let me just clear this so it's not in the way. And I'll try to explain what's going on. Okay, so we got a Kali, which quickly became a Slav, sort of a closed Slav. He's attacking. He's one of the main ideas against black when black develops this bishop is to sort of use your queen to bother the b7 pawn, but I don't think it's too bad. Queen b6. I'm not worried about a trade like this. This will just bring my pawns closer to the center and open up my rook, and my a pawns or my doubled pawns are really not weak, so I'm not concerned about that. Instead, he went knight h4, which makes sense. He's going for my bishop pair. He's trying to just steal my bishop pair, which is not much I can do about that, so I'm just sort of allowing it to happen. And bishop g2. So statically here, white's doing very nicely. If they can just you know, consolidate and you know, get, especially if they can, I think, get queens off in a board in a way that necessarily does not open up my rook, then they're going to be happy. I went bishop b4 here. I'm not really sure if this is like a main move, but it's an idea I've seen in some of these lines where you just try to get rid of this knight and then land your knight on e4. So like he played bishop d2. I took. He took with the b pawn, which was interesting. And now I played knight e4. And this may look a little bit weird because it looks like they can just double your pawns like this. But the problem is this is really not... First of all, giving up their light square bishop is a major concession that they're doing. They've got a lot of pawns stuck on dark squares. They're really giving up an important minor piece of theirs. This pawn on f2 is a backwards pawn. This pawn is sort of weak too because it's a backwards pawn on a semi-open file. I think black is actually doing quite well here if white were to do that. So after knight e4, he played c5. I just played, okay, queen c7. So okay, the computer likes, what is it, like queen a6 here or something? But I think this made sense too. And he went c4. And here I actually liked my position. I just got low on time and didn't handle it so well. So knight takes d2, king takes, and now d takes c4. And again, we're in one of those positions where statically white is doing very, very well. They've got a beautiful pawn structure, a very nice bishop if this comes to the endgame. But their king is sitting on d2, and there's queens and two rooks still on the board. That's very risky. Now, I castled kingside. I was wondering if there was a way I could have been more direct and just blowing up the position. I went b6. Maybe that was unnecessary. I didn't think I would mind losing this pawn on c6, but Engine's pointing out just maybe something like rook a to d8, and I'm putting pressure here. I'm threatening stuff like pawn to e5. You know, for instance, let's say, let's just give them a move. I don't know. Let's say something like rook b1 or something not so great here. Then I would play e5. Okay, and the point is now if they take, I could take back with the knight and they'd be pinned, and my pieces are just roaring to life. So that's probably what I should have done. I went b6 because I was trying to really blow it open before he was consolidated. Knight takes b6. All right, he gets this pawn here. I avoided the queen trade. Here I thought he could force a queen trade actually with queen to c5, or pretty close to forcing a queen trade, because otherwise I'll have to go somewhere sort of out of play with my queen. He'd be attacking my rook too, which is kind of the point. He didn't play that though. He went rook c1, which let me get right back in this. In fact, here he's letting my queen really invade on some of these dark squares near his king. So he goes queen e2. G5 was meant to sort of soften up his defenses near his king. So I actually think I did a reasonable job. I took too long to do it in Blitz. That's a major sin. Rook to c1, rook e3. Okay, so he is better here, but king d3, g3. Yeah, and this ended up surprising me, as here I was able to chop off his queen for my rook and my knight, and I don't think his rook and his bishop are good enough here. I think his king still being so open means he's always going to have to deal with pressure on that, and there's a lot of pawns, which means, I don't know, maybe I can steal some of these pawns, like the a pawn, and then my a pawn becomes a threat. He does have the scary d pawn, but again, it's going to be hard to just push it down the board with his king so open. Rook c3. He tried. Check. Let's see what was going on here. Check. Okay, and what did I miss here? Queen b2. I found queen b2, and then I just didn't take this, in which case I would just be up a full piece. I mean, I'd have a queen for just a rook. I don't know. This is what happens when you have seconds on the clock. Instead, I played queen takes a2. And even here, I'm still better in this position, but it's just like I said, the time was the issue. Yeah, he managed to sort of find safety for his king, and you know, his passed pawns were scary. Basically, I just ran out of time. I think that was the biggest problem. Okay, interesting game. Yeah, so I will see you guys for the next one.